In other news, today marks the 10th year anniversary to one of the most disturbing cases in our history. It was termed as the worst case of juvenile delinquency in post-war Japan. While preparing this feature, I had to do research over this case. Its gory details are too difficult for me to talk about. 17-year-old Junko Furata was on her way home from work after school when a boy came and kicked her off her bike. Meanwhile, another passerby comes over to help Junko and asks to walk her home. Eventually, the young man abducts her, takes her to a hotel, and has his way with her. Then he calls his Yakuza friends to tell them about the situation. They all eventually join in. This was November 25th, 1988. For the next 40 days, young Junko is tortured, physically abused and tormented, starved and humiliated until finally, on January 4th, 1989, her body cannot tolerate more, and she dies.
Hello? Junko? Baby, is that you? Stop looking for me, Mama. I've run away. I won't ever come back home.
To imagine what she must have felt when she was on call with her parents but not able to tell them of her pain. The culprits were 4 boys: Hiroshi Miyano, Joe Ogura, Nobuharu Minato, Yasushi Watanabe, all juveniles with sick minds. On this day, we remember Junko Furata and the pain she suffered. In tribute to her, here is the last episode of her favorite show, Tomboy. And after, in an exclusive, we have a full-fledged interview with one of the main culprits involved. Stay tuned. Mr. Ogura, do you know what that first image was?
No.
I find that hard to believe. After all, that is your handiwork. I thought you were here to tell us the truth. So what is it?
That was after she died. We stuffed her body in the barrel, but her body didn't fit in, so we pushed her in more. I think her neck broke during that anyway. We poured cement over her body and that was a tuft of her hair peeking through.
The concrete encased high school murder. That's what it was called. So start at the beginning. How did you decide to do this?
We didn't. It was a game to us. We would often have girls and we would have fun with them and then throw them away or let them go. Nobody cried for the stupid small things at the time. Nobody cared.
Stupid and small things? Huh, sick bastards. So, how did you find out about Junko?
Miyano. He had seen her around school. She was a pretty girl, outgoing, confident, and smart. Miyano liked her and asked her out, and she rejected him. Everyone feared Miyano, so nobody would dare to say no to him. But she did, and that was insult to him.
Liked her? You mean he wanted to get laid?
What else matters?
Consent for one. Anyway then.
You gotta understand, nobody, and I mean nobody, said no to Miyano. Things would get ugly, and he decided she needed to learn a lesson. So on November 25th, we planned it like that. Minato was a stranger, and Miyano helped Junko. She was so stupid, trusting, she let him escort her.
Then he took her where?
I think it was some warehouse. He scared her with his connections with the underworld and told her that all he wanted was a bit of fun. Then he would let her go. Otherwise, he would kill her family. He forced himself on her multiple times, and then he took her to a hotel and called us. The way he described it, it was magical. We all wanted to taste her.
You all took turns? Oh, that poor girl.
Yes,
Was it your first time?
First time having sex? No.
First time raping?
No.
Mrs. Furuta, when was the last time you heard your daughter's voice?
We were getting really worried and had contacted the police. But then we got a call from Junko.
What did she say?
She said she'd run away. That she wasn't coming back. She sounded scared.
So, Gura, what happened there?
After we had tasted her, we didn't want to let her go. It was too much fun. So we forced her to call her parents. We told her we'd do the same to her mother and kill her family. So she called them.
How dare you, you piece of shit! I can't believe it!
What did you do then?
We took her to Minato's house. His parents were there, but they didn't give a shit. They knew what was going on.
They knew?
We pretended she was a girlfriend, but later we dropped the act. They were scared to tell us off anyway. Whatever we wanted. Made love to her lots of times. That was good fun. We would make her dance. She would have to be naked all the time. She was our pet.
The four of you kept her as a pet?
People say different now, but there were at least 70 to 75 boys and girls who knew. They knew we had a slave, and we had people come over. I could say at least 150 people used her within the first 2 weeks.
And what would they do?
Rape her, assault her, beat her, humiliate her, whatever worked, whatever did it for them. They could do it. When we got bored, we'd shove her in the big freezer naked for hours, then take her out and whip her skin. Cold made it hurt more.
What?
Yeah, it was just something we did.
Animals. Did you feed her?
Milk and sometimes thinner and acid and bleach to see. But she vomited everything out most of the times.
I think we need to take a break. Reports tell us by day 8 of her captivity, Junko could no longer breathe through her nose. Because of all the internal bleeding, she could not eat without vomiting. She was severely dehydrated, and she could not even urinate properly due to the infection of her genitalia. She was starved to a point that her body was rejecting any sort of food or drinks given to her.
We also made her drink her urine, and we would beat her if she vomited. She was becoming disgusting.
Wow, so the police came.
Those pigs? Yeah, they got tipped off by someone, so they came to check, but they never investigated. Instead, just spoke to Minato's parents and left.
She could have been saved if they did their job.
Maybe, but I don't think she wanted to live. She was nothing like herself.
What do you mean?
Some of us, I don't remember who, we poured lighter fluid on her legs and burned her. And we broke all the bones in her hands as well. Crushed them, I think with dumbbells. We burned her eyelids, carved shapes on her skin, cut her nipples, things like that.
Yet she still tried to escape?
We all had been drinking more than usual. We got really drunk and she crawled down to the phone and tried to call the police, but she didn't get far. Luckily, we noticed and I took away the phone from her before she spoke. I told the police that my kid sister dialed them by mistake. We brought her in the room and this time, we set between her legs on fire. She had fits, but we didn't care.
And she still lived?
She begged us to kill her, but we didn't. We just beat her up more and more. We thought it'd be ironic to force her to stay alive, since she wanted to die. So we tried to feed her good food. She didn't look like herself anymore. She was hideous and smelled rotten.
How did she finally die?
It was a few days later. She was so disgusting that she was untouchable. So we just started beating her again and again. Her body couldn't take it anymore, so it gave up. She died. We decided to shove her in a barrel and leave her in an old factory. And well, you know the rest.
Yes, you and your sick friends got nothing in comparison to the torture you put her through. I hope you burn in hell.